A very warm welcome to the Beyond Chatbots, Orchestrating AI Native Enterprise Workflows webinar on this very fine May 1st date. All right, so we have 30 minutes on the clock and we have a lot of material to cover, so we'll jump straight into the deck. Some introductions. My name is Amit and I lead marketing here at Orkes. We will introduce Orkes much later in the deck. Viren is unfortunately under the weather today, so he won't be able to join us. So you will have to bear with me for the next 30 minutes as your lone presenter. So with introduction out of the way, let's set the stage for looking at how AI has evolved over the years. Okay, evolution of AI from rules to reasoning. So AI has come a long way, right? So on this slide, we kind of outline the evolution of AI from simple rule-based systems to reasoning agents. So think of early traditional AI as following strict recipes. If X happens, do Y. Then came generative AI that could understand data and even generate content. And now we're entering the age of agentic AI. So AI that can make decisions autonomously. So this evolution is a shift from rules to reasoning. So in the next few slides, we will break down each stage, what traditional AI could and couldn't do, what generative AI expanded capabilities, and why agentic AI is the next leap going forward. Okay, traditional AI, that is where it all began for many of us in tech, right? These systems are deterministic and narrow. In other words, they will do exactly what we program them to do, nothing more, nothing less. So picture a rules engine that flags a transaction as fraud only if it meets a very specific pattern. Traditional AI follows like explicitly coded rules, making it reliable for well-defined tasks. Use cases were limited, like basic fraud detection or simple chatbots with predefined responses. The upside was that you get predictable outcomes. The downside, there was no adaptability. So if conditions change slightly or something unexpected comes up, a traditional AI system can't improvise or change its behavior. Then came generative AI, right? Generative AI is where we change the game by understanding and generating content. So instead of just following rules, these AI models like LLMs or image generators learn from vast amounts of data. They can produce human-like text, write code, create images, and even have a conversation. And we have seen examples, right? AI assistants that draft our emails, summarize documents, translate languages, or act as coding co-pilots. So generative AI leverages large pre-trained models to output something new, be it a paragraph of text or an image based on the patterns it has learned. That was a big leap of capability. But where it struggled it lacks goal-directed autonomy, right? And that is where we are heading into the next age with agentic AI. Okay, agentic AI is moving from just generating outputs to taking a goal-oriented, context-aware approach to taking actions, right? So think of an AI that not only writes an email when asked, but can determine that an important email needs to be sent in the first place, then draft it and then send it for you, right? So it operates with a purpose. It has a goal. It uses context. It can call on tools or other systems and remembers what it has done. I mean, these agents can decide, reason, and act autonomously towards your objectives. So we are seeing some early use cases of these situations. So research agents that gather and summarize information, planning agents that schedule your meetings, AI interviewers that conduct job interviews. So this is exciting because it feels like you're working with a smart colleague, right? But there's a catch. Without guidance, autonomous agents can become chaotic and go off track. They might loop endlessly, making odd decisions or misuse resources because they're so independent. So how do we harness agentic AI's power without the chaos? The answer is orchestration. So why is orchestration so crucial? Orchestration we'll talk about this in the context of digital transformation. We often hear that digital transformation is the backbone of the modern enterprise, right? So companies have invested in AI, cloud, automation tools, you name it. But the challenge is having a lot of great tools or AI systems enough. Just having them alone isn't enough. If they don't work together in a cohesive fashion, you're not realizing the full value. It's like having many talented employees with no predefined processes or structures in place to make them work as a team. So, in the context of AI, we have added powerful generative models to our toolkit, but without orchestration, they remain isolated capabilities. So, your digital transformation journey needs a conductor, not just more tools. And orchestration is that conductor. It ties together AI models, data sources, and human inputs into a cohesive process. So rather than the patchwork automation here and there, you get end-to-end processes that are intelligent, auditable, and scalable. So the result is you unlock the true power of your AI investments, and you're achieving efficiencies and outcomes that isolated chatbots or scripts can't deliver on their own. Role of process orchestration, right? It's There are many things that orchestration does for you in an organization. It can help streamline workflows across systems, whether it is connecting different systems like your CRM and your finance system, or any other systems in your tech stack. They basically help you connect the building blocks of your enterprise. They drive efficiency and they can scale automation beyond what a single tool can do. They can foster agility. Need to make a change in the process, you can tweak a workflow in one place instead of writing or rewriting code in multiple systems. It brings reliability and scalability because the orchestrator can handle errors, retries, and load balancing so your processes don't fall apart under pressure. Importantly, a good orchestration platform provides observability and governance. So you get a bird's eye view of what's happening in each step with logs and metrics to monitor performance. So all of this in the end also brings together time to value so that you can deploy new automated processes faster, and you can trust that they will run correctly and securely. So it's like a glue that holds complex workflows together and kind of supercharges them. Now, you might be thinking, is orchestration a new concept? Now, actually, orchestration is everywhere in IT, in operations. We see it in data orchestration, so moving and transforming data across pipelines. We see it in IT workflows and DevOps pipelines, like CI/CD pipelines. But AI orchestration is our focus today. Like, how do we coordinate AI services and agents in a way that is cohesive and makes sense for the entire organization? So, why orchestration is crucial. Without orchestration, if you try to deploy multiple AI agents or automated steps, they become isolated or unpredictable. So one agent might start an action while another is still processing something else. Um, and there's nothing to coordinate timing or data between them. It becomes hard to debug issues because there's no central log of who did what. Auditing is a nightmare, and scaling such a disjointed system is even worse. On the orchestration side, if you have a workflow orchestrator in place, you can define the sequence and decision logic clearly, like step one, step two, maybe branch to A or B based on a condition, and so on. The orchestrator can track and monitor each agent's behavior so that you have full visibility and logs. It can enforce fallbacks or retries if an AI call fails. Essentially, it becomes kind of possible to mix and match a team of workers, LLMs doing some tasks, calling APIs for others, humans handling exceptions, triggers kicking off new processes, new workflows, all managed in one view. So the difference is kind of night and day, right? You're going from chaos to an organized, auditable process, which is very important for an enterprise. So, agentic workflows. So let's delve a bit deeper into this topic because it's representing a paradigm shift in decision making today. Um, so, for example, instead of a person triaging support tickets, an AI agent could prioritize and route them automatically, right? These agents incorporate diverse data sources. They might pull in a customer history, real-time market data, or past case resolutions to make better decisions than a single human or a static program. So rather than replacing humans, this you are basically empowering human experts with AI assistance. And because these workflows are orchestrated, they are secure and auditable. So every decision an agent takes can be logged or reviewed. So strong governance is built in. Um, so the bottom line is agentic AI, when properly managed, leads to smarter, faster decisions while keeping you in control. Let's talk a little bit about AI agents and agentic workflows, right? And how do you distinguish between the two, right? So what do you mean by an AI agent? Think of it as a standalone decision maker. So for example, a chatbot or an LLM-based script that handles one task given some input and context, right? It might call an API or two in the process, but generally works in isolation. It has limited memory and adaptability, so it's very great for it's really good for like simple single step tasks like answering a question or making a single recommendation. Now, an agentic workflow, on the other hand, is a different beast. It's a whole system of coordinated agents working together towards a larger goal. Like we talked about before, it's all about working towards a goal. In an agentic workflow, there's planning, execution, monitoring, feedback happening in a loop. The workflow maintains state with short-term and long-term memory, so it knows what happened in previous steps. It might involve multiple agents, various tools, databases, and most importantly, humans when needed. So it is designed for complex multi-step task and decision making, where the output of one step feeds the next. So while an AI agent might answer a support query, an agentic workflow could handle the entire support ticket lifecycle. Like it can categorize the issue, it can draft a response, get approval from a human supervisor if it's high priority, or follow up on to ensure resolution. Right? So it's trying to shoot for a holistic outcome, a holistic goal. Scaling agentic workflows. Now, you might be thinking if one agent is useful, a whole network of agents or like an agentic workflow must be even better. And that is true. But scaling agentic workflows comes with its own sort of challenges. As you start coordinating transactions, as you start coordinating multiple agents or tasks, complex interactions will start exploding, right? Um, yeah, debugging and monitoring becomes very difficult because you don't have centralized oversight. So when something goes wrong, where did it happen? Which agent made a bad call? And you have to consider security and compliance. As these agents operate, they might access sensitive data or make decisions which has implications from a regulation standpoint. So how do you ensure that each agent only has access to what it should and that every action is logged for compliance? So observability and metrics also is also really important. So if a human manager or a manager comes and says, why did the AI approve this loan? You need an audit trail. So scaling up agentic AI without these safeguards is really hard. So you kind of risk bringing chaos, blind spots, and security holes. And that is why you need a workflow engine. Workflow engines come into play as scalable AI agent coordinators. So, a good workflow engine provides a structured environment for these agents and tasks to live in harmony, right? It handles task orchestration and a task uh, and assigning tasks to the right worker. It could be an AI model, a human, a microservice, and then tracking it all the way to execution, right? It supports parallel execution and conditional logic. So meaning multiple agents can work at the same time when appropriate, and you can branch the workflow based on decisions. And crucially, a workflow engine has built-in error handling and recovery. So if an AI service fails or times out, the engine can retry, skip, or alert a human rather than just crashing. So you get centralized monitoring and control like a single dashboard with a bird's eye view. And then finally, security, compliance, and governance, which is kind of a given in this case. So, introducing Orkes Conductor. Orkes Conductor is all about building highly reliable applications and agentic workflows at enterprise scale. The origins of the company are from Netflix. So it is built on an open source solution called Netflix Conductor. Netflix, in its early days, built out a microservices orchestration engine and which helped it scale its platform to serve millions of users worldwide, as we all know. Now, Orcus is that managed service on that runs over Conductor, right? It takes everything that made Conductor great, its agility, its resilience, and developer-first design, and adds in enterprise-grade security, up to 4 nines availability, and end-to-end observability. So it's open source at its core, which gives you that peace of mind of know when to lock in, and it's designed for mission critical workloads. This slide kind of highlights the different domains where a platform like Orkes Conductor can be seen in action, right? So order processing systems in leading e-commerce firms, they rely on Conductor to ensure every step from order placement to delivery is orchestrated smoothly. Insurance claims processing. Companies use our workflows to coordinate document uploads, damage assessment, and human adjuster approvals, fraud detection and management. M&A, which is extremely complex in terms of legal reviews, financial analysis, and a multi-step approval process. They can all be streamlined in this platform. And then and there are other examples here from Netflix to Tesla to Freshworks. So yeah, I mean, the use cases are broad, they're varied, and they can be applied to pretty much any single industry out there. What does Orkes Conductor deliver, right? So the three parts, and I'll start in the middle, which is application modernization, durable execution, and acceleration of development cycles. Application modernization, right? It basically allows you to update and augment your existing applications with modern technologies like microservices, AI, of course, and APIs, all through orchestration. You don't have to rip out legacy systems. Instead, you build workflows around them to extend their life and capabilities. So basically, you are kind of lowering your total cost of ownership while adding new features. Durable execution. You can build long-running, durable workflows without worrying about underlying infrastructure. The platform handles system failures, retries, and scaling um, like seamlessly behind the scenes. That means even if a process takes hours or days, like it's waiting for a human approval or an external batch job, Conductor will manage the state and ensure its completion. So no more writing custom code for error handling and state management. It's all taken care of. And then acceleration of development life cycles, right? It's all about speed and agility. Developers can ship new workflow-driven applications to market faster because they're not bogged down by the plumbing code that they have to build otherwise to manage state and failure mechanisms that typically come inbuilt with a workflow engine like Orkes Conductor. So together, these benefits mean that you can adapt quickly to new opportunities and challenges without breaking your systems. Some platform highlights, we talked decoupling business logic. I think that's a good one, right? So with Conductor, you're separating what you want to do, the business steps that is, from how it is implemented in code. This means you're not hard coding workflows in each application, right? So the workflow lives in Conductor and calls your services. That keeps your code cleaner and your processes easier to change. We talked about durable execution. Event driven is very self-explanatory, right? It's all driven by events and which can trigger workflows. Debugging is seamless because you have a centralized view of your entire process. We have a visual workflow builder where you can basically iterate on processes in a UI. So it kind of speeds up your idea to production very quickly. And for non-developers like citizen developers, this is also a great tool for them to understand what's happening behind the scenes. Versioning. This, I think, is a very powerful feature. You can run multiple versions of workflows, do A/B testing, or canary releases of new processes and rollbacks if needed, all safely. And then you have finally enterprise grade RBAC. So it's like fine grained access control is built in at the task level, at the workflow level. So you have a lot of control on which teams, which departments in your enterprise get access to what part of the system. And finally, everything is audited for compliance and security purposes. AI transformation with Orcus. Today, if you go to the website and sign up, you will see there's a developer sign up, which is free. And you can start playing with agentic workflows right away. We don't curtail any capabilities. It's basically a free playground for developers and practitioners to go and experiment with Orkes Conductor. We're also moving towards a new model where we can build AI agents, complete AI agents directly within Conductor. That's a bit of an early access kind of a conversation. If you're interested, reach out to us and we're happy to talk more about that topic. Differentiation, we have the widest range of LLMs and vector DB integrations, like 10 plus LLMs, 7 plus vector DBs. So you have like first class support of these within the task view of Conductor. You have first class prompt engineering, which I think is a really cool, which is really cool feature, because you can templatize prompts, you can version control them, and you have visual editor. So teams can manage and optimize AI behavior with precision. Token budgeting, you can manage token usage and enforcement at the workflow level. This is a very unique capability that we provide. And then security and governance, right? Because you are looking at task level and workflow level management based on the fine-grained access control. Okay, let's talk about some enterprise use cases for agentic, right? A few examples that I've taken from our different conversations with different customers. Imagine automated invoice processing and exception handling, right? So think about like an accounts payable process. A trigger could be a new vendor invoice that comes in. Maybe it's uploaded to a portal or emailed to accounting. Now, traditionally, someone has to open it, read all the details, cross-check it with purchase orders or contracts, and then approve or flag it. That's tedious. It's error prone, especially if you have thousands of invoices coming in different formats. So this is where an agentic workflow can help. So an LLM combined with an OCR can kick in as soon as the invoice comes in. It reads the invoice, extracts key data like the amount, the vendor name, line items, due date, etc., and then automatically validates the data against corresponding POs or contract terms in a system. That's the AI doing the heavy lifting. Now, the business logic will decide if everything matches, right? Is it a standard invoice? So auto approve it. And maybe even initial payment, that's like a straight through process with no human intervention needed. But what if something doesn't match? There's an anomaly, and then you have to bring in like amounts differ, or if it's a new vendor, then the workflow needs to bring in a human, right? It needs to flag the finance team member to review and make a decision. And then you finally think about governance, because you have the audit trail of every action the AI models have been taking while they are, like what it extracted, its confidence scores, who approved what. Like we even track, like I said, the token usage consumed by the LLM. And we can also restrict the AI access so that it only pulls financial data relevant to this task for security, right? So that's the kind of the realm of an agentic workflow, right? It's a multi-step process, multiple agent process, and it has a certain goal in mind. And this is an example of how would you think about this from a flowchart standpoint, right? So this is how you will break this down. If you're actually building it out internally with your teams, I'm sure you'll be whiteboarding this process somewhere in your team rooms. And I'll bring this home as I talk more about a couple more examples, right? So continuous risk monitoring in financial services, something very similar. Maybe the trigger is a very large transaction or an alert that has happened, right? So traditionally, an analyst would have to notice this, then dig into various systems and pass data to assess what is happening. With an agentic workflow, as soon as the trigger happens, an LLM-based risk agent wakes up, interprets the event. It might summarize the transaction details and even compare to past patterns, and then take an action. It may need access to certain tools, right? Maybe it needs to query a policy document or regulation text via vector DB to see what rules apply, and pull the client information from the CRM. So based on that, the AI can create a risk classification or recommendation. And then finally, this is where the human in the loop comes into play. They can review the findings and then they can take action accordingly. So similar example, and you can see this is if you're doing this internally, this is how you would internalize with your team. So we have a couple of examples on our website actually. So if you go to our website under blogs, under resources and blogs, you will see we have this insurance claims processing on the website today. So, on the right-hand side, what I'm showing you is an actual flow chart that you would build, and then how it would look like within Orkes Conductor on the extreme right. That's the visual UI builder that we have for workflows, and you will see the end-to-end processes built out within Orkes Conductor. Similarly, we have this other example of an agentic interview app. So if you have to build an interview app for using agentic workflows, how would that look like? So the candidate enters the details, an LLM agent will conduct the interview on your behalf. The agent will score your answers and provide feedback, and then send the manager, the hiring manager, a formatted script of the interview with its scores, and that is what you can see has our second example here on our website, which is bringing this agentic workflow to life. So it uses OpenAI, the Google Docs API, SendGrid for emailing the reports, and then the other backend and front-end tools like Python and Next.js. So I think I'm running short of time of giving an actual demo. But in the end of the day, I would say those are the key areas where, if you think about agentic workflows, it's goal-driven, they're context-aware, they are composable architecture, means agents are modular, right? You can easily swap them within Conductor. Um, they bring in reasoning, and then finally the orchestration part brings that whole story together. Right? It talks about agent collaboration, it handles the retries and control flows, and at the end of the day, you are enabling real-time decision making based on what is happening in those conversations. Cool. All right, so that is the end of my presentation. We have 2 minutes on the clock here. So maybe I'll take a minute to answer any questions on the chat. So let me see what's on the chat right now. There are a couple of questions on chat right now. So maybe I'll take a quick pick here. Let's see. So why isn't oh yeah, so can we track model usage track model usage by team or by workflow? The answer is yes, right? So Orkes tracks usage at the task level, so you can analyze how many tokens each team or workflow is consuming and optimize accordingly. What is the benefit of prompt engineering? Prompt engineering or prompt versioning. Prompts are like application logic. Versioning lets you test changes, roll back if needed, and ensure that each workflow runs using the same exact prompt version that is intended. So it's critical for reliability and debugging. Okay, well, how does Orkes differ from RPA? That's robotic process automation or low-code tools. So RPAs are they're task automation at the UI level. Orkes Conductor is a process orchestration system level, right? And unlike low-code platforms, Orkes gives you full visibility for developers while still enabling visual modeling and enterprise gate control. So those are major differences. How do you handle workflows that require both human and AI, or both AI and human input? We basically support this natively in the platform. So we have something called as human task. So you can pause a workflow, assign a task to a human, and resume once they respond. So this is really useful for approvals, exception handling, and when you need a human judgment. What safeguards are in place to prevent data leakage to public AI models? I would say Orkes Conductor uses we have this RBAC capability, fine grained access control, where you can basically control which teams or workflows can access specific models or data. So you have full compliance and data sovereignty across the board. Cool. I think that's all the questions I have at this point. But thank you for your time. And I really appreciate you all spending some time with me on this topic. Yeah, looking forward to engaging with you all outside the webinar. But thanks for your time again. Take care. Bye.